face that head on. Face that head on. I'll say it again. Hi dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to Twin Talks Ballet. If you don't know me, I'm a former professional ballet dancer and also a mindset coach for dancers now. I'd love to provide free, powerful, impactful advice on how to flourish as a dancer, whether I'm talking about mindset tips, audition tips, stories from my journey, all sorts of things. Basically anything I wish I knew when I was training and aspiring to be a professional dancer, which was so much. In this video, what I want to talk to you guys about is how to use Instagram and social media in general in a way that is mentally healthy for you and enriching in your life as a dancer. We all know, I don't have to say it, that social media has its downsides. So I'm not going to bore you with talking about that. You don't necessarily have to quit Instagram. I mean, I think it would be great if you did. If it's really a horrible thing for you in your life, do it. You have my blessing and my encouragement. So many dancers aren't going to totally quit Instagram. I want to equip you guys with some tools that personally I've shared with mindset coaching clients that I've worked with when they come to me for things like they're struggling with a ton of insecurities. They're constantly comparing themselves to other dancers. They never feel good enough. They always feel like they're behind. And that negative mindset is really impacting their ability to perform well and to honestly feel confident and enjoy what they're doing when they're dancing in the studio or on stage. So when I'm helping a dancer through that, these are oftentimes some of the insights that I will share after, asking them questions and allowing them to process what they're going through. I do hope that you really find these points impactful, and I want to challenge you to put them into action. Chances are you clicked on this video because being on social media so much and scrolling through has not been so helpful for your mental health, and you want to be helped in that. You want some relief from that. But what I want to say up front is that a lot of dancers know this. They do want to stop struggling, but they are not willing to make changes to their relationship with social media. And so to that, I say, that's all right. If you want to keep struggling, keep doing that. Don't change anything. Don't make any changes, and you can guarantee that you will brilliantly get the same results you're getting. But if you want relief, if you want to gain confidence, if you want to step away from the online world and start living your real life, if you want to regain stability in your mental health, do put these points into action. All right? Give this video a thumbs up, comment below if that's what you're committed to doing. I will be so happy to cheer you on as well in the comments. The first tip I want to share and thing I want to bring your awareness to is become aware of your frame of reference that you're gaining through social media. What do I mean by that? Every single person has a frame of reference for how they quantify what it means to be a good dancer, for example, to be a good dancer, to be a good friend, whatever. We all have oftentimes unconscious ways of identifying what it means to be good and what it means to do a bad job, what it means to be a bad dancer. Sometimes these are, they definitely can be in our conscious awareness, but how often are we both aware of and honest with ourselves about who exactly and what exactly we are comparing ourselves to? And often what we are comparing ourselves to, which by the way, it's not actually a bad thing to compare yourself. Why? Because first, as humans, we have to do it. We have to have some sort of measure for success, measure for if we're doing a good job or not, in order to celebrate if we're doing a good job. If you have no standards, how would you celebrate if you're doing well? If we had no standards in technique, how would we train and appreciate these dancers that are driving our craft forward, who are showing us what is possible in the realm of ballet? We have to have some measure for what is good and, what could be better. What's important isn't to say, hey, stop comparing yourself to others, but to recognize you're going to do it no matter what. And to take control of what your frame of reference is for right now. So first, become aware. And the way to become aware is, oftentimes you could just ask yourself, what's the image in my head of what it means to be a good dancer? So once you become clear on that, notice how far that is from your current level of progress. If it is so far that all you are able to notice in your perception is how far you are from that standard of good, it is very appropriate for the time being, because our frames of reference are extremely subjective and you can use that to your advantage, change your frame of reference to your measure of success, in other words, to be closer to where you're at right now so that you can create a quick win. And then with that level of confidence and that sense of, hey, look, I did it, that sense of accomplishment, you could gain momentum by having that positive feeling, saying, okay, here's the next thing that I'm going to shoot for. Get that, blah, 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 blah. But it's so, so, so important to first take charge of your frame of reference after you become aware of it and shift it to be close enough to your current level of progress to where you can sense that the action you need to take to get to that level is attainable. It is so crucial to make your frame of reference actionable. In other words, if it is close enough to your current level of progress that you believe, hey, I can get there, you're much more likely to take that action. In other words, it is actionable. If you're like, oh, I'm a terrible dancer, and the person you're comparing yourself to is Svetlana Zakharova, oh my gosh, like even, she is a different kind of dancer than like Isabella Boylston, who is gorgeous, by the way. Isabella might look at Svetlana's extensions and be like, oh, she probably does. She probably does, But would we say Isabella is a bad dancer? No. Adjust your frame of reference to where it is close enough to your current level of progress that you could shoot for it, and then shift it up from there. In terms of how to leverage social media to help you out with this, make sure that for the time being, you are following people who are at that level of progress you want to make. And what this does is it can help you to inspire you. It can help you to build belief that you can get there. It can help you to learn from those people so that you're understanding how they've got to where they are so you can too. And then you could keep shifting who you're following as you grow and as your frame of reference changes as well. The next tip I want to share with you is to speak with specific language void of unhelpful generalities. So for example, when I'm coaching a dancer and they're talking to me about how they feel inadequate, oftentimes what comes out in their language is they say, I feel like everyone is better than me. I feel like I'm always going to be behind. And so I stop them right there and I say, everyone? Who is everyone? And usually by just asking that question, it breaks through that generality in their brain. And they're like, honestly, it's the 12-year-olds I'm following on social media. How helpful is it for you to follow those 12-year-olds on social media? And they're like, honestly, not very helpful. And so then I say, what do you want to do about that? For the time being, I'm going to stop following them. Boom. It can be that simple. And I'm not saying it's that simple to solve someone's sense of inadequacy forever in that simple step, but part of the coaching process is distilling general problems into simple action so you could just start taking steps that are the building blocks of greater achievements. That then when you pursue those greater achievements, that's a process that can build confidence for you that is sustainable. So again, ditch the generalized language of like, everyone is better than me. Say, this person specifically, I look at them and I feel inadequate when I look at them. Notice when you start to speak in generalities and question it, pause, and you're like, who am I talking about? Who am I comparing myself to? Or with the example of, I always feel behind, always? When did you start feeling behind specifically? And then we can go into what triggered you to start feeling behind and what can you do about that specific trigger. When you get specific with what you want, with what's not working for you, with who you're comparing yourself to, all these things, when you get specific and you look what it is that you're thinking about straight in the face, you can do something about it. When it stays so general, it's like grasping on air, swatting through a cloud of confusion. In addition to my point on following people who represent the frame of reference that's helpful for you right now, also intentionally diversify who you're following. So many dancers, just because it's nice to look at, they're exclusively following the extremely talented dancer who's like the hotshot superstar, won Prix de Lausanne when they're 15 years old, whatever. Why? Because it's beautiful ballet and we like watching that, it's understandable. And I also just want to talk for a moment about how people are all critical, like people don't share their real lives on social media. It's like, if they showed you their real life, I'm just going to roast you right now, you probably wouldn't follow it. Okay? I do have a problem with how deceptive people can be with their social media presence. I'm not commenting on that. Well, I do want to suggest, I do find an issue with that. However, with so many dancers I've coached, They exclusively are following the super talented, and that's leading to this perspective that there are a bajillion dancers out there who are just like them, that the only people who get into companies are just like them. And that is extremely false. I have worked with dancers when I was a professional dancer. I saw dancers who are getting into companies that have like 100 and something followers. And honestly, their pictures aren't that great. Some dancers who get to the professional level, maybe they're with a small company and they eventually get into the court of ballet. But when they start, they're not perfect, you know, but social media and who we're following and how we're developing our frame of reference, it's skewing our perspective to think that only people who look like Svetlana Zakharova or, you know, the people who are winning Prix de Lausanne, Grand Prix, things like that, only those people are good enough to be a professional. And it's really not true. So please, I want to challenge you to diversify the people you're following. Start following people who are at the level of progress you're at and below. And that will simulate something that is much closer to reality than probably who you're currently following. Now, dancers, I want to just briefly pause today's video to remind you guys that as a mindset coach for dancers, I would love to partner with you to really set yourself up for success. This is the kind of partnership I really wish I had as an aspiring professional dancer. The way I work with dancers as a coach is really to partner with them in supporting them towards reaching their goal. We both work together towards their goal. And I really, really love that about the work that I do. As a mindset coaching client, we really focus on getting rid of the limiting beliefs, the insecurities, the fears, and the self-doubt, whatever mental blocks you're experiencing that are actively preventing you from performing at your personal best and being mentally well, mentally and emotionally well. So we can work together in a mindset coaching partnership. I also specialize in helping dancers discern their next career steps. So I also help a lot of dancers through the transition of understanding, do they want to continue with ballet? Is this something that's right for them? Do they like it for the right reasons? And if yes, if they want to stay with ballet, what would need to change in their relationship with it? What would they need to let go of mentally and emotionally in order to make it healthy for them? Or if you know, I help a lot of dancers decide if they would like to actually stop ballet. And I help them kind of resolve their relationship with ballet so they can leave it with excitement for their future and no regrets. You can check out kirstenkemp.com, learn more about my services, and reach out for a free consultation if you're interested in mindset coaching. Let's get on with the video. Next, I want to challenge you for your mental health. Ask yourself the question, when you open Instagram, what triggered me to open Instagram? What was happening in the way I was feeling or in my life right before that? Were you uncomfortable? Did you feel awkward in public? Were you thinking about maybe audition season and you got super overwhelmed and you're just like, I don't want to think about it, and then you open Instagram? Or have you just trained yourself to be so addicted to your phone that anytime you walk by it, you tap the phone, you open it, you go on Instagram? Become aware of what it is that triggered you to open Instagram. And instead of going to Instagram as the Band-Aid, the place to distract and just forget everything, confront that trigger. Ask if that could be something that you could change. Would that be helpful for you? Oftentimes, and I'll be honest about myself, what I notice when I ask myself this question is I had a tendency, and still have sometimes, I have to be aware of it, to go on Instagram when I want to distract myself from things I don't want to do, I don't want to think about. They make me uncomfortable, or I'm worried that I can't do it. This sounds dumb, but it's like a real thing. I've had this limiting belief that I'm not good with technology, and so when I want to like redo some of my website, I'm like, oh, I'm not good at it, and then I get uncomfortable and then I try to avoid the task, and then boom, I'm on Instagram. Or sometimes I've had moments where I have emotions to work through. I should be processing them through journaling. Sometimes I pray through them or I talk to someone, and instead of processing that emotion, I numb it out, because so often for me, and I notice it's almost a societal thing where we treat negative emotions as a bad thing that we shouldn't have. And when you have that presupposition, what are you going to do when you have a negative emotion? You try to numb it out because you shouldn't feel it. What's the easiest way to do that? Often Instagram. So instead of just going to Instagram, notice what triggered you to get on it and see if that's something you can work on. Next, I want to challenge you to notice why you use Instagram, for example, in the first place. And of course, I'm using Instagram quite a lot, but this can definitely translate to other social media platforms. But notice why you use it. Well, I want you to not only notice the reason why you have been using it, because it was probably just, the thing everyone does. Then I want you to choose a reason for using Instagram that's actually enriching to your life. This is part of taking control of how you use Instagram, for example, so it doesn't take control of you and your mental health. So, for example, some young dancers use Instagram because, just everyone's doing it. Some do it in order to gain social status. And that would be an example of a time to really be honest with yourself. Maybe it's a chance to gain validation that you don't feel you receive in other areas of your life. Then it's important to develop relationships with people and a relationship with yourself in which you can have a healthy exchange with people, a healthy sense of validation from relationships with others without being desperate for external validation. But then to consciously choose, if you want to continue to use a platform like Instagram, choose a purpose for it going forward that's actually enriching to your life. For example, I use my personal Instagram account, which it's on private. I'm really not trying to make a show on that Instagram account. For a while, I just contemplated just not having it, but I realized I actually really like having it in my life because it allows me to keep up with my friends from college, friends from high school, and also for me, I really like going through my Instagram feed because it's really personal and I really enjoy looking at it as like a scrapbook. And when I look back on some of my memories, it brings back those memories and those feelings from those days. And I love that. If I was 14 and Instagram was a thing when I was 14, maybe it was, I just didn't know about it. I could definitely see myself using Instagram and trying to pose perfectly and looking at how many likes I got for a sense of validation. Whereas now, I don't really care if 30 people like my picture because I love that memory. I love those videos and I love going back to them, But if I were younger, I can definitely see why I would be compelled to seek validation and to put up this image that is worth validating, in my opinion, so that I can start to maybe believe that maybe I really am that person. Maybe I really am that version of myself that I'm presenting, instead of actually just working on myself and being the person I want to be in real life. Next, what I would recommend to everyone, and I practice this in my life, is to not go on Instagram on the weekends. Like I don't really do it. The only reason I will do it is on my personal Instagram. Part of the reason why I use that Instagram is also to find things that are happening in my local area. And anytime I follow all these different restaurants in Austin and different pages that have things that are going on so I can go do fun things, it does really enrich my life and I love it. And so I have saved all these posts. And so then the only reason I'll go on Instagram is to look at those, but I go in there knowing that I'm going in, I'm going out, and that's it. Maybe in the beginning, what you need to do is just delete it off your phone, but just give yourself a break. I think you'll be so pleasantly surprised with how lovely and restful and beautiful the experience of just living your real life is, instead of just scrolling on your phone and then looking up and being like, where did an hour of my life go? Life is precious. Time is precious. It's the only non-renewable resource. So use it wisely. Value your life, value your time, value your mental health. Take some time away from Instagram. It'll always be there for you. I also want to share this challenge with you. Personally, it's been so helpful for me and my mental health because I've noticed that it's so easy these days just to have a constantly busy and distracted mind. If I don't watch it, if I don't center myself very frequently throughout the day, my mind can be in a bajillion other places. And my mind starts to open up tabs, so to speak, of like, wait, did I do that thing? It has all these open tabs, all these questions unanswered, and then I can get frazzled and overwhelmed because my phone is a big part of that. I find it so important to periodically throughout the day put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I only go on Instagram at certain times for certain periods of time throughout the day. There are apps for this. It's very helpful that will actually shut you out of an app after a certain amount of time that you specify. Now, my tip for you is to take moments throughout the day where it's super normal to get on your phone. And oftentimes when you just get on your phone to distract yourself, to numb out, or do it because everyone's doing it, You're on sites like Instagram or Facebook, TikTok, whatever. So what I would recommend is identify the times where you are most likely to get on your phone. Is it on a break between rehearsals? Everyone's on their phone. So why not? You are too. You're in the line at the grocery store. Everyone pulls out their phone while they're waiting, so you do too. You're in the waiting room at the doctor's office. Everyone pulls out their phone, so you do too. Here's something I've done in my life, and I have loved it. I would so recommend. Be the person who just sits down at a restaurant and waits for your guests to arrive, and you just sit there and you don't go on your phone, and you just look around. You look at the menu. Or, maybe you talk to someone next to you. I tried doing that once, and the person looked at me like I was really weird. But sometimes it's really great, And I was like kind of proud of myself too for just being the person who tries to like strike up a conversation, And sometimes I've honestly been looked at in public like I'm weird for not being on my phone when I'm just being idle. I'm just looking or I'm just looking off and I'm thinking. Thinking is doing something. I'm in my own mind. I'm in my own thoughts. I'm being present. And using that as an experiment and an exercise of practicing the power of choice over cultural conditioning is actually so empowering and it's confidence inducing. You're like, I don't have to get on my phone just because everyone else is. Or maybe you notice your surroundings and maybe you have what I call a conscious moment. This sounds maybe a little hokey, but I genuinely love doing this and I would recommend it to everyone. In the moments where you are normally compulsed to go on your phone and then to let the phone dictate what you think, you take charge of your own mind. I know that I don't just want to tell you to not do something. I want to tell you what to do, or what you can do. I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your life. One thing you can do in those moments, instead of just not being on your phone, is you could take a moment to just fixate your focus visually on just one aspect of the room around you or being outdoors or whatever. For example, when I'm outdoors, I love to do this thing where I just look at a plant next to me. It sounds so dumb. Judge me, whatever, laugh at me. I don't care. I love it. And I will just look at a plant and I will see how many details I can notice about the leaves. And I just find I'm so filled with awe at the beauty in the world, when I just look at it. Or when I am just aware of the feeling of wind on my face, or the sounds of people talking far away, the sounds of traffic even, the sound of the wind on the trees, or in a rehearsal space, maybe you're in a studio, when you're just sitting there and you choose to not be on your phone, you could just take that moment to maybe lay down, put your feet up on a wall, close your eyes and just breathe. Or thoughtfully talk to someone, connect with them, talk to someone about something that's not ballet related. And you can actually make a memory there. You can tap in to the world around you to connect with other people. And it can have a similar effect of taking you away from whatever you're focusing on in rehearsal. But instead of just taking you out, it gives you something. And so I'd really recommend that. The last tip I want to share with you guys is one that focuses on being content and focusing on authenticity. We know that in many ways, social media and what people present, it's an illusion. We know that. But I want you to explore why you follow some of the people you follow that are very clearly curating a super specific, perfect image. Do you follow influencers who, their life just seems absolutely perfect? Do you follow the dancers who just every day are like, I did this and I achieved this and I did my 6 pirouettes and whatever, and everything they do, they're only projecting perfection? Ask yourself, what is it about you that really wants what they have? Is there something, about the way you're relating to that person that maybe you're hoping that if you just buy the things that they buy, if you do the things that they do, if you eat what they eat, if you look like what they look like, if you achieve what they achieve, then maybe your life will be free from pain. It will be perfect. You will be happy finally. We know that we do this, but I want you to ask yourself, why do I want that? Why do I want to buy into that? What am I unhappy about in my life? Face that head on. Face that head on. I'll say it again. Face the things that you are discontent about. And you can do something about it when you face it. And the other side of that coin is to take time away from social media and make a daily practice out of focusing on what you have, what you're grateful for, with the intention of not just feeling positive, but building contentment. Advertisements prey upon discontentment in people, a deep sense of, I'm not happy. And maybe some of you guys, because I don't want to seem like a hypocrite here, yeah, I advertise my coaching services on here, but the reason I send out these messages is so that people can get the help that they want, the help that they need, the help that I wish I had when I was an aspiring dancer and a professional dancer. Not all marketing schemes are predatory, but so often with materialistic things, they kind of are. And so even we buy into messages when people are marketing themselves and we want to be like them because of how they market themselves. You are a gift in yourself. You are a unique person with things about you that are to be treasured. You are different than them, and that's great. You don't have to look a certain way, have certain things, to achieve certain things, to be a person of value and worth, because you already are. Focus on that. Live your real life, please. Enjoy dancing while you can, because it doesn't last forever. So cherish it. I'm not saying cherish it out of a scarcity mindset, but just be grateful for all the opportunities you have to dance and all the things that you do have and all that you actually are. That's, I think, where contentment starts. So I will leave you with that. I hope that this video was very helpful to you. I would love to hear from you in the comments to just say what you've learned from this and maybe what tips you're definitely going to put into action. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.